Such a long time to survive that I just had to step on. I'm still. I mean, it is a little bit. At least against you.
Слава Україні! Слава нації!
Смерть ворогам!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Героям України тричі!
Слава! Слава! Слава!
Ворогам України тричі!
Смерть! Смерть! Смерть!
Welcome, my friends, and welcome to another one of our Ukrainian rallies, where we interact with the crowd. For those who are interested, that's the question of to participate in any way. Keep in mind, my friends, everyone is welcome. Today, we have a special bit of news for all of you, my friends. Because, of course, it's very important to speak about the many different world events that influence us. And today, the good news is the complete collapse of the Assad regime in Syria. We congratulate every Syrian in the world with the final and complete collapse of this terrorist regime, puppet regime, of the Russian terrorist regime, and of the Ayatollah terrorist regime. So once again, congratulations to every Syrian on earth for this great time. However, before we go any further, we're going to start this rally as we always do, with the Ukrainian anthem.
Ні слава, ні воля, ще нам, браття українці, усміхнеться доля. Згинуть наші вороженьки, як роса на сонці. Запануєм рідні браття у своїй сторонці, душу тілом ми положим за нашу свободу. Віра каже, що ми браття козацького роду, душу тіла ми положим за нашу свободу. Віра каже, що ми браття козацького роду.
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Слава нації!
Смерть ворогам!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Героям України тричі!
Слава! Слава! Слава!
Ворогам України тричі! Once again, my friends, after around 13 years of civil war, the Assad regime has finally collapsed. Long last. Should have happened long ago. The war crimes and the atrocities committed by this regime are countless. Now, I do personally love the Assad regime stands, the fanboys, the apologists, who claim, oh, you know, with Assad, he fought against ISIS. He was a good guy, surely. My friends, everybody fought against ISIS, even other, you know, extremist religious groups fought against ISIS. ISIS was the kind of creature that nobody can ally with. For them, the vast majority of other Islamic extremists were simply kuffar, as they say, you know, infidels, according to their doctrine. So of course they fought Assad. They also fought the Kurds. They also fought the rebels. They also fought against the Western forces in Yemen. They had skirmishes and fights with everyone. So this claim, oh, you know, Assad was a good guy because he fought against ISIS, this is complete nonsense, my friends. It's complete idiocy. It's like saying, oh, you know, Putin is a good guy because there would have been a new Soviet Union instead of Russia. It's absolutely ridiculous. Putin is bringing back the same rules of the Soviet Union to Russia of modern day. That's what he's doing. He's changing rules. He's bringing back that complete and utter authoritarianism. Now, we often say that Russia is an authoritarian country, and it is. It 100% is. There are very few countries on this earth that are more authoritarian than Russia. One of those examples is perhaps North Korea. And in North Korea, what do we mean by that? In North Korea, my friends, they can simply mobilize the whole population like that and send them to whatever silly conflict the North Korean insane regime might come up with. And they will face no political repercussions. In Russia, that's not quite possible at this moment. At this moment. However, every single day that goes by, all of the moves in the past towards westernization, towards freedom of speech, towards the free world that have happened in Russia since the collapse of the Soviet Union are being backpedaled, are being undone by Putin's terrorist regime. Why is that? Because, my friends, Putin is preparing for a full-scale war with a free world. He is hoping that he will get support from China if he shows himself is capable enough, if he shows that he can give the Europeans a bloody nose, if he shows that he can hold his own. That is why, my friends, it's so important for every single one of us to avoid this great conflict, to support Ukraine, and to make sure that Ukraine puts down this great evil of the Russian terrorist regime. How are you, my friend? How are you today? I'm good, I'm good. Are you streaming?
I see you in speaker corner.
Yeah, oh, he knows, he knows. Would you like to ask a question?
I don't have a question.
No questions, that's fine. See you later, my friend. You see, sometimes we meet people we've seen before, sometimes we meet people who have seen us before, and we can't remember them. You know, a lovely gentleman. I'm sure he was a lovely person. And you guys too, if you like, you can always ask a question. You can always participate. Don't be shy. You are a very welcoming and friendly community. Now, of course, some people tend to get a little bit upset if you just come to them and shout in their face, "Oh, glory to Putin, you should kill you all." It's a little bit triggering to some people, but personally, my friends, I'm used to it. I am used to it. How are you, my friend? Would you like to ask something? Who? British farmers, that's right, British farmers. Well done to the British farmers. Love the British farmers. Lovely people. I mean, I haven't met that many of them, but I'm sure they're lovely people. And this is a lovely country we live in. This is a great place. And to make sure that it's not a terrible place like Russia, we need to tell people that they are playing with fire if they do not understand that Russia is the #1 enemy of this country. The #1 enemy of the way of life of the people here. The #1 enemy of the great British values is Russia. There's always been as such. It is as such nowadays. Now, people have different opinions about it. I remember, not too long ago, when we did a counter-protest against the supposed Stop the War Coalition rally that was supposed to happen right here. But it never happened. We came in here. There was like 10 to 15 of us. And there were like 3 or 4 or 5 of them. Friends, I was shocked. I was honestly disappointed. We came here trying to get a discussion, a debate back and forth with our opposition. And what we saw were some poor stragglers that were left behind unattended by the hypocritical Stop the War coalition. Now, my friends, this is what you get when you side with socialists. That's what you get. You're always left behind with an empty bank. So that is why we must make sure that we do not fall for that picture. However, just like we warn people against siding with socialist and communist ideologies, we also warn people not to turn to the other extreme. You know what they say, the horseshoe theory is true. It has been proven many times to be correct. The far right and the far left are close to each other. They're very close to each other indeed. They have very similar views on this world, authoritarian views. That's why we should oppose the socialists just like we oppose the fascists. We should be centrists. We should be moderates.
Поехали бы на...
How are you, my friend? You can ask a question. Perfect. Whoa! We got this man. A round of applause for this gentleman. Well done, my friend. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. You know, we don't say that anymore because it's a little bit uncouth, but fair enough. Fair enough. I appreciate the sentiment. You know, that's a lovely gentleman right there. You know, and that proves it, my friends. If anyone wants to participate, that's a question. They're perfectly free to do as such. Don't be shy. Don't feel like, oh, you know, these people, they're going to jump at me if I disagree with them. No, man. We have debated with a few stragglers that were left behind last week. At the end, they even shook hands with the main guy who was talking to us. I mean, honestly, I kind of respect his dedication. He stayed behind, one against 10 people, and he was not afraid to try to prove his point. I mean, his points were complete rubbish. His points were idiotic. But the man had a few redeeming qualities. So for that, I shook hands with him, and I showed him a little bit of respect, because he deserves as much. If all of our opposition behaved as such, then our opposition would have learned long ago that they should not be our opposition in the first place. That they should not try to prove the Russian point for them, because the Russian point, my friends, is rotten to the core. That's how it is. And once again, my friends, there has been some very good news lately. Iran has been getting a bloody nose throughout the last few weeks. All of their proxies, all of their little puppet regimes have been getting beat up by the rest of the world, by many different sides. In fact, Syria is the best example. We saw it right there. A whole bunch of Syrians came to celebrate the collapse of the Assad regime. And we are with them, you know. We support those guys because they oppose a terrorist regime. And now that Assad's regime has collapsed, you know what they found? They found death camps. They found torture chambers. They found prisons where rape, torture, and all kinds of animalistic behavior were commonplace. The same exact thing we have seen the Russian terrorist regime do in Ukraine. It was perpetrated by the Assad regime. It's good that it has collapsed. It's a good thing that their enemies beat them, so that now their enemies have exposed what the Assad regime truly was. You know what else is interesting? They burned the mausoleum of Assad's father and his older brother, who had already died. Now I know what you're thinking. Wait a second. Mausoleum? Who is Assad? A pharaoh?
Так и думаю, что у некоторых россиян не желание. Вот они эмигрировали в Америку. Приехали, спустились и начали стрелять. Это прямая сущность.
Обратно не продать.
Но при этом им же надо говорить, как все в Америке
Как же русские там в Литве, в Латвии, они то же самое говорят. Очень все плохо в Литве, в Латвии. Сам живут в России.
They call it Zemlyanka in Russia. Made of earth.
Говорят, Европа хуёва, а сами в России не хотят
What a
участвовать.
pathetic display. World superpower, ladies and gentlemen, a country with no paved roads and with huts made of earth and wood.
И затем про свою страну они не отзываются
Keep that
плохо,
in mind.
но их книги.
Keep that in mind. You can look it up on Google Maps, by the way. Look at Russia and check out and how many of their main cities are connected with paved roads. Now, there are no paved roads connecting the smaller settlements. There are no paved roads connecting the villages. It's all dirt. That's what Russia is at the end of the day. Dirt. And they want to conquer even more territories so that they turn those other countries into dirt and dust, which is what they have been doing in eastern Ukraine, which is what the Russian terrorist regime has been doing in Syria. Who will speak about that? Who will speak about how the Russians leveled the level to the ground, about how the Russians used chemical weapons in Syria, about how the Russians propped up the terrorist Assad regime, who used rape, torture, and executions as ways of dealing with his political opposition? Who will speak about that?
Площади и потом налево.
Alas, not a lot of people speak about it. It seems like only the Syrians and those who know Russia well are aware of all of these atrocities. So once again, I congratulate every Syrian in this world for the final and complete collapse of the Assad regime. Whatever happens in Syria next, whether ISIS resurfaces, or there is a new authoritarian regime, or there is another civil war, then it's still better than allowing Assad to continue doing his dirty work. Because change, my friends, it sometimes results in a worsening of conditions, but the potential for improvement will be there. That is why it's important to
Что, опять
terrorist
хочешь поехать?
regimes like
Хотел в
Assad
Донецкую область
and
опять
Putin's
поехать,
regime,
волонтерить.
and like the Ayatollah regime in
Если у него
Iran.
есть возможность, почему и
That
нет?
is why, my friend,
Ему
we
больше
stand
всего
together with our Iranian friends. We stand up against the terrorist Ayatollah regime. We stand together with every nation of the world that opposes the terrorist Russian regime. We stand together
Буду
with the
дожидаться
brave Syrians
старости, чтобы я
who
мог
have
спокойно
toppled
поехать в Украину.
Assad's
Естественно,
government
когда это
and who
закончится.
now have a brand new future in front of them.
В следующем году.
And hopefully,
Там
this
Трамп
blood
придет,
blow the
порядок
Russians
придет.
have suffered in Syria will mean
Я не
something in the
знаю.
grand scheme of things.
Спорная позиция.
It was truly an incredible victory.
Конечно, не факт,
Within
что
around 10 days, the rebels have simply
может
toppled
порядок
the regime.
придет, но не
10
факт,
days.
что
Incredible.
территория обратно вернутся.
That is what it means to have a military superiority, my friends. If Ukraine had the weapons it needed, the war against Russia would have ended long ago. Alas, there are many politicians who are fearful, and even more politicians who are fearful not for their people but for their pockets. You see, there's a lot of business done with Russia. Sometimes some regions in London are called London Ground because of the large presence of the Russian oligarchs here. Russian blood money flows freely. That's an issue. We need to deal with it, my friend. We need to hit the Russian terrorist regime where it hurts. Right in the money. That's right. Those greedy little bastards in the Kremlin, they will feel the pain when their wallets are shrinking. They will never care, independently of how many Russians are vaporized on the battlefield. They will never care about that. But when their wallets start losing coin, start getting lighter, that is when they will come down
Настроение у
to
меня хотя
earth
бы
and they will understand
улучшилось. Назад
the
нашел
truth.
на
They are
работу.
merely
Там на
human
один день
beings
или намного?
who have grown too big for their
Представляете,
shoes.
надолго.
Who
Насколько
now
точно, я не
think that
знаю.
they are gods of
Нет,
earth.
нет?
Нет.
We know exactly how to bring
Что за район?
Да,
the Russian
в
terrorist
районе канале
regime to
можно
justice.
работать.
Рядом?
If you help Ukraine
Рядом с домом,
win,
да?
Ну, отлично. еще нет.
Fighter jets for Ukraine.
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 Air defense 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 for Ukraine.
Long range missiles 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 for Ukraine.
Let Ukraine strike back.
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 Tribunal for Russian war criminals.
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 Seize Russian assets.
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 More sanctions on Russia.
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 And now, my friends, we will have a short musical break. Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Слава нації!
Смерть ворогам!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Україна! Героям України тричі!
Слава! Слава! Слава!
Ворогам України тричі!
Смерть! Смерть! Смерть!
Now, my friends, some of you are aware that we've had a very interesting little meeting last week on Sunday, where we discussed the future of our rallies. One of the things we discussed was the interaction with the crowd. And we have discussed that we should all encourage the people who have stopped by and shown some interest to participate too. Yes, I'm looking to these two lovely ladies here, for example, not singling you out, just encouraging everyone else. If somebody shows interest, engage with them, talk to them, tell them something about our rallies. Well, we are a very friendly community in the end. We don't have to stand here with a flag as if this were a funeral in complete silence. No, we will not say a word. We should encourage people from outside of our community to join us. Because this is not an ethnic community. This is a cultural and political community, my friends. That's right. Anyone from any part of the world is welcome to join. Because this cause is not restricted to Ukraine. I know it might sound very funny for me to say that. I mean, we see Ukrainian flags all around, don't we? But this flag, my friends, it's a symbol. It's a symbol of unity. It's a symbol of the future of humanity. It's the symbol of the nation that has sacrificed the most to achieve world peace at long last. By giving up the third biggest nuclear arsenal in the world, in exchange of nothing but promises of peace and respect of their sovereignty. What has Ukraine gotten in return? This perpetual and condescending attitude from the Russian terrorist regime. Oh, you know, Ukraine never existed. Ukraine was always part of Russia. I'm sure that the people who say this are the best historians in the world, paid by the best Kremlin propagandists. But in reality, my friends, the Kievan Rus, the ancestor of Ukraine, Russia, and Belarus, as the name implies, started in Kiev. That was the seat of power. There are tales of the Rurikids. However, this is very patchy history. At that point, we are not entirely sure how exactly the dynasty started. And of course, the Russians always try to appropriate everything. They say, oh, no. The Kievan Rus did not start in Kiev. It started in Novgorod. And they forget the fact that Rurik himself was not even Russian in the first place. That's right, he was Norse, Varangian. But my friends, Kievan Rus was a unit between the Norse and the Slavs. That is the real origin of the Kievan Rus. And don't allow the Russian misinformation misguide you in this regard, my friends. We have to know the history of the past so that we know the mistakes made in the past and the successes of our ancestors too. So we emulate the successes and we avoid the mistakes. That's how we move forward, right? Well, apparently, some individuals want to bring back the past independently of whether or not the entity they want to bring back making more mistakes than actual benefits, actually good choices. Independently of whether or not the entity they want to bring back being genocidal and detrimental to their own people above all. That's this joke that floats around. Now, this is purely anecdotal. There's no historical evidence of this. But still, it makes you think for a little bit. The joke goes like this. Hitler used to say to his generals that when he would take over the Soviet Union, he would give it back to Stalin. Because no one was better than Stalin at exterminating his own people. Once again, my friends, purely anecdotal. However, it does make you think for a little bit. Because the joke does make a certain amount of sense at the end of the day. Look at the amount of people Stalin has exterminated, even before World War II began. Tens of millions. Compared to that, Hitler's exterminations looked tame, which is not to remove from the gravity of the actions of Nazi Germany, which is a terrorist regime, of course, and we should condemn it as such. But why is it that we do not have the same disdain for the Soviet flag? Why is it that some countries in this world are still trying to pose like socialists? Oh, look at us, we got socialism right. Pathetic. Millions of people die every single time people attempt socialism. And that's exactly, should never be attempted again. Right now, Russia has returned to the controlled economy system of the Soviet Union. For the most part. Of course, there are differences. But there are big similarities, my friends. Also, Russia has returned to the good old-fashioned Soviet meat wave attacks. That's right. They just love to use their manpower in that way, to keep throwing the mobbies, the mobilized, at the enemy lines until they crush them. And that is why, my friends, it's so important for all of us to remember that Ukraine needs that support, because the Russians outnumber Ukraine. There are far more Russians than our Ukrainians. Ukraine cannot contend with Russia in this sort of war of attrition. It will be ground down. And that is why Ukraine needs to receive those weapons necessary to finally put the Russian regime down for good. Put the Russian military down for good. That, my friends, is the solution to this war. That is the solution to Putin. Well, of course, we keep hearing stupid and uninformed individuals like Joe Rogan, for example, scream and shout, "Oh no, they're starting World War II!"
Слава Ukraine!
Heroes Slava, thank you very much, my friend. That was well said, that was well said. Thank you very much. You hear individuals like Joe Rogan say, "Oh no, there's going to be World War II, these people are starting World War II!" Fear-mongering aside, let's ask ourselves a simple question. World War III, excuse me, that's what I meant, World War III, against whom? You know this. Against Russia plus who? Plus North Korea, plus Iran. Sure. Does that truly count as World War III? Does Russia, North Korea, and Iran together amount to much? They amount to nothing, my friends. Not if the free world stops playing around. The only reason why Russia is still committing the atrocities they're committing is because the free world does not take them seriously enough. You see, no one wants to get their hands dirty. We understand that. We do. We never wanted to get our hands dirty with them. But the problem is, the Russian terrorist regime left Ukraine no choice. They invaded Ukraine, and they will invade Moldova in the future. They will invade Georgia if it does not simply give in to their demands. They will invade the other European countries if they feel like they can get away with it. And as always, what the Russian terrorist regime does, they act because they feel like they will not be opposed. The mentality of a bully. And that's the priority for a bully. It's actually not to abuse other people. That's not the priority of a bully. Their priority is to get away with their action. Because if a bully only wanted to abuse others, why not pick someone their own size? I'll tell you why, my friends. It's because someone their own size can strike back. It's because someone their own size can hit them back and give them a bloody nose. No one wants to bully someone else if they get a bloody nose. It's just not fun, is it? That's the mentality of the Russian terrorist regime, my friends. It's just not fun for them to pick on someone like, for example, NATO. For example, the United States. For example, even the more powerful of the European nations like Germany or France or the United Kingdom. They don't want to mess with those guys. Oh, no, 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 no. They wanted to mess with Ukraine because Ukraine showed their goodwill. Ukraine gave up their nuclear arsenal. Ukraine gave up most of their military power before the war in 2014 began. That is why the Russians targeted Ukraine. They felt like it would be a walk in the park. They felt like they would get away with it. Well, my friends, they might get away with it if the free world does not act as long last. If the free world does not understand that they might see Russia as neutral, but Russia most certainly does not feel neutral to them. World, wake up!
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 Russia is a terrorist state!
Russia is the terrorist state!
Russia is a terrorist state!
Russia is the terrorist state!
Russia is a terrorist state!
Russia is the terrorist state!
Stop Russia! Stop the war!
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 And of course, my friends, it's very important to remember the main deterrent against the Russian terrorist regime, the only thing that will prevent them from attacking Ukraine in the future, save for a complete collapse of the Russian regime itself, is Ukraine joining NATO. That is the main demand of the Ukrainian people, the main request, the main condition for their peace and their cooperation in any kind of peace talks. What kind of an idiot will be signing a treaty with someone who backstabbed him before at every single occasion? No one should do that. Why would Ukraine give up its territories so that Russia can invade them again within a few years? If there are no real, so to speak, deterrents against Russia, I mean, my friends, if we get a new Budapest memorandum or Minsk agreement, it's going to be a complete disaster, let me tell you. Within a few years, Russia is going to rearm, regroup, and go for another try. And then it will be stronger. We must not allow that. Ukraine needs to join NATO at long last. That should have happened before. That should have happened in 2008 when Georgia was invaded by Russia. That should have happened before 2014 when Russia invaded Ukraine for the first time. That should have happened before this full-scale war began almost 3 years ago. It should have happened long ago, my friends, but it has not yet happened. Why might that be? I guess some individuals don't really take Russia seriously enough. They feel like Russia is a comfortable boogeyman to have at their doorstep. Somebody who will not do any serious harm, because of course we've seen the Russian military in action, and it has been absolutely pathetic. However, the true danger of the Russian terrorist regime does not lie in their military. It lies in their lies, my friends, in their propaganda machine. Russia has been able, thank you, Mike. Oh, long live Russia. Are you sure about that? Why do you keep walking, my friend? I don't understand when people come to us and say, long live Russia, and it cannot justify anything. That's right, my friends. Pretend you said nothing. Surely it's going to give you a better look. It truly amazes me when people come to us and they say something in favor of Russia. That's fine by me, personally. Like, what do these people expect? That we're going to jump them and start punching them up? If that were the case, he would not be walking away so carefree. He would be running away. But he wasn't. He knew no one was going to pursue him, no one was going to punch him, no one was going to persecute him. He just wanted to come here to say something nasty and walk away scot-free, just like Russia.
Dodgy.
Indeed, my
Dodgy.
friends.
Dodgy guy.
Dodgy guy, indeed, dodgy guy, very dodgy guy. But alas, my friends, I do enjoy to interact with our opposition also. But the problem is, our opposition never enjoys interacting with us. You know why that is? Because we ask them some very, very difficult questions. That's a joke, by the way. The questions we ask are not difficult at all. They're not trick questions. They're not trigonometry. They're not quantum mechanics. They're simple questions. Why do you support Russia? What can be simpler than that? Why do you support Putin? Why do you say glory to Putin? What is there to glorify? You see, my friends, very simple and straightforward questions. Why is it that these questions completely discombobulate our position? Why is it that they can never reply? They can never say a word. Oh, no. And they run away. They flee for their lives. But no one is actually threatening those lives, those pathetic little lives of individuals who've been living a lie their whole life. And my friends, I will return to the argument I was making about the true danger of the Russian terrorist regime. And once again, that is their propaganda. Brexit. We all know Brexit very well. There has been an investigation to find out how much Russian meddling there was in the Brexit vote. How much Russian meddling there was in the vote to have Scotland separate from the United Kingdom. How much Russian meddling there was in the riots that happened not so long ago. Here's a spoiler alert, my friends. The same exact individuals who support Russia have been spreading conspiracy theories that have caused the riots that have cost this country millions. What a coincidence. Coincidence, I'm sure, has nothing to do with them actually supporting Russia, does it? I mean, perhaps. Some people say that Russia does not have what it takes to truly meddle with the opinions of the free world. But my friends, we know better. We know that in that regard, Russia is very powerful indeed. In terms of their military, they're complete trash. They're getting trashed at every corner in the world where they have a military presence. Because that's not something they're good at. But they are very good at lying. They're very good at coming up with conspiracy theories. And above all, they're very good at confusing people. Not even to give people a different worldview, no. To just give many different opposing worldviews to people to get them confused, to stop them on their tracks, to freeze them and prevent them from action. A few days ago, I had an illuminating conversation with an individual who came to me saying, oh, you know, I don't know what's going on in this world. It feels like it's all a stage. It feels like it's all planned. Which was something that made me think a little bit. Hold on a second. It's all planned. What kind of conspiratorial mindset is that? I did not call him out on it. I wanted to ask more. Find out what he truly thinks. Apparently, this individual thinks that Russia did not have great losses when fighting against Ukraine. He thinks that there's some shadowy puppet government controlling both Russia, Ukraine, and the US. And it's all part of the plan. That's right. Big plan of these reptilian Zionists from Mars. I jest, of course. He did not mention any reptilian Zionists from Mars. But my friends, I'm sure his conspiracy theory, whatever he believes in, is no less ridiculous than that. To truly believe that all of these wars are fake, none of it has happened, that's a new level of misinformation. And you might not think so at first, but it's exactly what helps the Russian terrorist regime in their dirty world. They want to get the world as confused as possible. The Russian terrorist regime has never declared a straightforward war against Ukraine. They never called it a war. I mean, sometimes they do, occasionally, when they make a little mistake, when they make a little gaffe. But they never made a declaration of war against Ukraine. They never done it. However, Russia has declared war against truth in this whole world. They have declared the full-scale war against the very idea of truth. They have decided that if they remove truth from every person on earth, well, the people will be too confused to act. Nobody will care about how many people they're torturing to death, how many people get raped in Russian jails, how many people are being exterminated by their use of chemical weapons, and perhaps in the future nuclear weapons. No one will care about it. If you convince the whole earth that up is down and down is up, that pigs can fly and humans are meat, if you convince the whole world that they're all ruled by some shadowy puppet master government, and nobody's decision matters, then people will not make any decisions, because they will feel like their decision doesn't matter. Truly, an ingenious plot. Honestly, I'm a little bit shocked and surprised, and also disappointed, in terms of how successful they have been in this. The Russian terrorist regime's military method is complete garbage. But their ability to mess with people's minds abroad is truly fascinating. It's a magnificent power they have. The power they have amassed since the Soviet Union. They've been holding it through the ages of the existence of KGB, FSB, and Cheka. They have been holding this very specific ability to mess with people's minds, to confuse them, to kill the truth. That's exactly what they're doing nowadays.
19-14 час.
But if any of you, my friends, are interested in what the truth is, there's a very easy way of finding it. It's to ask questions. Just ask people. If you think that you should not be helping Ukraine any longer, oh, but like next month I don't want to go into Ukraine. Come here and ask us. We will eagerly answer any questions you have. As silly as they might be sometimes. But it doesn't matter. Because this is what it means to live in a free society. This is what it means to have freedom of speech. To be able to come to other people, ask a simple question, and get a simple answer. Whether you like it or not. That, my friends, is what we stand here for. That is what's so important for every person to have. That is what Russia is threatening as we speak. And these investigations into Russian meddling in British politics, Russian meddling with Brexit, Russian meddling with the vote for Scotland to separate, these investigations, my friends, they never got from the ground. They were started, but they were never finished. You know why that is? Because Russia floods with bribes every single attempt at finding out how much they're truly lying to the people of the other countries. The tangents of the Russian terrorist regime have spread far and wide, and they are trying their absolute best to convince people that in fact truth does not exist. All politicians are the same. All countries are the same. Everybody is a psychopath. Everybody who rules us is some kind of a reploid creature that we can never actually understand, as near humans we are. But they will always unite in one idea: to resist everything, even yourself, to cause as much disruption as humanly possible. That is what every little bit of Russian propaganda has in common. Where it is, propaganda for the far right, propaganda for the far left, propaganda for the center, which usually falls flat on the ground. Because the centrists, my friends, are usually not so easily swayed with this demagogue rhetoric that the Russians love so much. But for those who are interested, how the Russian terrorist regime messes with your lives and livelihoods, how the Russian terrorist regime makes you believe that nothing is true and everything is a lie, how the Russian terrorist regime convinces the people around you of conspiracy theories and tries its best to weaponize those theories. Let's stick around. Ask the question. Speak to some of our friends here, some of the people in our community. It's always useful to engage in a conversation, a back and forward discourse, especially if you disagree with a person. Of course, sometimes it can be daunting, but my friends, fear not, for we are here to discuss, to speak, and to inform anyone who is interested in knowing more, anyone who is interested in being a human being and not a beast of burden, another member of the cavalry of this world that does not make any decisions whatsoever, but only allows others to make those decisions for them, so that we do not become as such. We must always remember that, to question and to interact with each other, so that we find out the better truth. Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Слава нації!
Смерть ворогам!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Героям України тричі!
Слава! Слава! Слава!
Ворогам України тричі!
Смерть! Смерть! Смерть!
And now, my friends, we will have another one short musical break.